Well, hello traders and investors. I'm L.A. Little. This is your daily NeoTA wrap. Take a look at these markets from a neoclassical perspective. Look at the supply and demand on the charts, folks. Want to know when to get in, when to get out? What are our best probability setups? And we had one last week. And how do you make those trades? I do a show 4 times a week, Monday through Thursday, broadcast at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, archived on YouTube, and it's under the channel L.A. Little. If you want to subscribe to the show, or reach up in the right-hand corner on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. When I push public content, you'll get a notification. As far as these markets, a pretty big update today, and that's a spike up after the big moves down last week. So last week, you shoot down here, 1.45% on Thursday, flatten out on Friday, and you get the bounce today right up to the top of that area. High was 24.65 on Thursday. Tonight, 24.65, right back to where it was. That should be the area that we see difficulty on this move, and we'll find that out tomorrow, of course. But what the trade was to buy this spike down. And as hard as it is to buy that spike down, the trade was on Friday. I told members about it on Friday, and we made that trade on the SPY and sold a good portion of it today, booking some gains. That's how you make the trades, and why would you make that trade, right? And that's the real question. It's not did you make it, it's just why would you make it? And the reason for it is it's a bullish retest regenerate after more than 6 bars. That's the bullish retest regenerate. It's this bar that you're coming back into. You come back into it. You come back into it with good volume. But after more than 6 bars, your probabilities are very high that that thing's at least going to bounce, especially in a market that's been this bullish, right? Very high probability trade. People tell you about risk reward. Nobody talks about probabilities, though. Or those that do, they talk about it, in this example or that, but they don't really have a model. The neoclassical model tells you when to expect high probability trades, and when you get those, you got to sink some money into them and make your money while you can. On the big picture, if you look at the weekly chart, right, this is just a blip so far. But the issue is going to be whether or not this bounce fails or not. It's coming up here. It's in the area that it should fail. If it does fail in this area, and the area I'm talking about is the low of the high to the top of the breakdown bar, that's exactly where you ended up tonight. This thing should try, more than likely, to flip back around tomorrow just off the bounce trade. NASDAQ, let's look at that one, see what it looks like. I imagine it's going to be about the same picture across the board out here. NASDAQ looks stronger, back into the same area. All these various indexes have different trades going on. If you go back on the NASDAQ, right, you had this wide price spread bar back here from June. That was the first shot across the bow, right? Then you had another one up here at the top, and now you just had the third one here. Each one of those sets up ranges that are important to consider. This area is the critical part, and it's right at the top of the critical part. If you get back higher here, you get back higher on the S&P, then yeah, maybe one more time they're going to do one of those V-shaped reversals. But if I had to make my bet would be that this time it's not going to actually do it. NDX doing the same thing, a little bit stronger. Big cap stocks still seem to be where the action is. And if I go to the Russell, and I don't have ending volumes tonight, but if I go to the Russell was the one that was telling us that the downside was eventually going to take place. You got a swing point low here, here, and here. You broke them all on these moves down. If we move over to the weekly, you still haven't broke the weeklies. That's down around 1350. If we see that break, something bigger is afoot. I'm going to leave it short tonight. What do you got? You got pressure at these levels. We should see that pressure show up tomorrow. If we look over at the SPY, you can actually see that the SPY had lower volume again today, just like it did on Friday. And what that tells me is, you got a weak bounce back up into an area that should be resistance. If that turns out to be resistance and this bounce fails, and I'll just show it on this chart, I won't flip back around, but if it fails, then you're going to have ABCD structures to the downside to bring you back into the lows that are lower down. Have a great one. I'll try to catch you tomorrow night. Still on vacation, so service is a little spotty the next couple weeks. Take care.